It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Sproles, ends up, yes! Caught! Touchdown, did he get it?
Welcome on in to the Full Court Press. Welcome back, or welcome in if you're just barely tuning in. It's the second hour of the Full Court Press here with Jason Walker and Eric Frandsen on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan, streaming online at 1069thefan.com and on the 106.9 The Fan mobile app, so you can take us wherever you're at. If you don't have a portable radio these days, I know that's a relic from Eric's time, portable radios and all that. They're a little more stationary now.
You still find them.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can find them. Of course, I remember back when I was going on my mission, we had to find a clock that didn't have a radio because back in my childhood, I used to listen to the radio on my little alarm clock for like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
Radio's not something I just randomly found when I was an adult. It was part of my childhood. Part of just Eric's entire life. But.
Right, yes.
So we're here. However you're listening, whether it's via traditional radio or via the mobile app or the website or listening on our podcast feed, we welcome all listeners and welcome all to text the Young Power Sports of Logan text line 435-339-0321. That's how you can join the conversation on any of our topics today. First hour, which I'll be trying to publish here in a few minutes here. They're just loading up the audio. Takes a minute to load an hour's worth of audio. But we previewed the game taking place tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. tip-off. Sold out, I believe.
Yes.
Of course, I think it's been sold out for weeks.
It's been sold out for a long time.
Yeah. The Aggies taking on the Aztecs, hosting them in the Spectrum.
In fact, I think they just announced that the Grand Canyon game has now been sold out.
Oh, is it sold out?
So I think we're at 7 games sold out so far.
Yeah, that's quite
approaching
a few games.
8.
Yeah, there's a lot of these games the rest of the way are going to get sold out, which is
as they should.
Yeah, which has been great for for the program. Where typically they've come, they sell out a few games. They'll get between just around 9,000, just over, just under, and then sell out a few games. Where this year it's been a lot of sellouts, and the stadium's been full. And one thing I'll say this is a lot of people take a look at the crowd with 5 minutes before the game, or maybe even like 2 or 3 minutes after the game has started, and they see a lot of empty seats, and they think, well, where is everybody? It's a sold-out game. But then you get into like the second half, or like just later in the first half, and the stadium's full. And it's because people apparently haven't quite figured out the fact that you can't like plan to show up 5 minutes early and expect to get in by the time the game starts.
Yeah. Yes. Plan accordingly. Get there early because they want a good, loud crowd from the tip. You got to bring the energy. It's an early game. Players aren't used to playing this early, at least not often. I mean, there's a few games so far this season that they've had earlier, but
they've done it before.
It's not like this hasn't happened at all. But having a good, raucous crowd from the tip, even from before the tip, when they do the announcements and the player introductions and the national anthem, have that place full and rocking and ready. Don't be late. So plan to arrive early, because if you plan to arrive early, you'll probably arrive just on time.
Yeah. I mean, I usually
it's sold out. So parking, make sure you get there. If you needed a snack or a drink or beverage before you get to your seat, get all that taken care of early.
Usually they're showing up like an hour early. And a lot of the times for these big games, I'll show up an hour early and the herd beats me there.
Yeah, the herd will already be there. I already got Camp Calhoun going on tonight.
A lot of those members of the herd have beat me there by a full 2 days. Although I was in the Spectrum earlier today, so maybe I win.
But you didn't stay there.
Yeah, I didn't. And I didn't actually walk into the arena proper. I was just in a side room. Although sometimes I wander in there before or after the press conferences. On the Young Power Sports of Logan text line 5338 saying, How much scratch is CBS paying USU to broadcast the game tomorrow? I bet ad rates for the game will rival the Super Bowl. Probably. Have you seen
Wouldn't that be nice?
Have you seen some people, like some companies are already releasing their Super Bowl ads or like supposedly releasing them? And it's like,
Yeah. It's become very commonplace.
yeah, has it? Maybe I just haven't noticed in recent years, but it's like the Super Bowl commercial thing will always just be a mystery to me because it's like they're commercials.
It's the biggest audience for one singular event in the world.
Yeah, and people will want to.
So it's not just a Super Bowl of what's happening on the field. It's also a Super Bowl of marketing.
Yeah, it is. But honestly, I think it's kind of going away because just social media is kind of, I don't know. There's more priority for social media marketing as opposed to.
I don't know. There's still
there's still room for that,
yeah,
but like
because it's a big deal.
But like the whole like Super Bowl
Chance to reach a lot of people
Yeah.
in one shot. It's
like
it's unrivaled.
the money for that, but like this craze over the kind of the social aspect. Because like commercials, that's still a big part. It's reaching an audience. I mean, it's the business that we're kind of in to a degree is selling that ad space. But it's like, people aren't like marketing their commercials they run on here as part of like some kind of contest or social media craze.
No.
And I feel like that might eventually go away with the Super Bowl. Or maybe it'll just stick around because it's been going strong for like 20 years, this kind of phenomenon of Super Bowl commercials being, again, I don't even know how to describe it, but maybe a marketing craze or something like that.
I mean, there's going to be whole articles that it will be written about.
Yeah, they make these listicles of like, here are the 10 best Super Bowl commercials.
Ads. Like, here were the most, these had the most impact. These are the most funny, whatever. So
vote on your favorite Super Bowl commercial.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll have you guys vote on your favorite commercials that we run.
Yeah. What were the best commercials you heard while listening to the Super Bowl on the Fan?
Yeah, basically, or just during our show. 9-5 texting and saying, Jason's problem would be his pioneer ancestors say about needing a clock to be on a mission. And my pioneer ancestors would make fun of me because they walked across the plains dragging along hand carts. They'd be like, what are you whining about?
Yeah.
We froze our feet off walking across Nebraska. What did you do?
Big showdown tomorrow, pregame at 10 a.m. So have your radio handy as you're or listen online on the app, the KVNU app, as you're headed to the arena. If you can't make it, listen to it before you turn on CBS. But we'll have full play-by-play coverage of what's going on KVNU tomorrow morning. 11 a.m. tip on CBS. This is a big deal, big matchup, big showdown. Two teams that are playing really good basketball, two teams that are really good defensively, teams that have some great individual stars, individual players. So this should be a lot of fun. And we've seen when these two teams face each other, it's one of them is going to be in the mix for the Mountain West title at the end. So this year is no different for sure. But as we look at this game, before this game even begins, we're technically at the halfway point of the conference schedule for Utah State. They've played 10 games so far, so they are right at the middle of their conference schedule. So usually, as it happens, when they're at a halfway point, we like to pause, step back for a second, and say, "Okay, we're at the midterms." And since this is connected to a college and a university,
this is an institution of higher learning that we talk about. We might as well start handing out some grades.
So we will be the professors, and we will start handing out the grades. Like, how are they doing as a team, and some of the individuals as well. So we'd invite you to play along as well on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line. Like, what grades would you be handing out if you were the professor or professor's assistant, the TA, who actually does the actual grading?
JD calls me the professor. That's the nickname he's trying to get going for me.
So what grades would you hand out? So we're going to group this up a little bit differently and try to approach this in a few different ways. How would you grade the offense? How would you grade the defense for Utah State? How would you grade the coaching? And then we don't want to go like player by player. This is the grade that they get, and then this player gets this grade. But we may group some players together and hand out some grades and maybe talk about who still has work to do, if there's missing assignments, who has to schedule their appointment with the professor for parent-teacher conference because they need extra care and extra attention.
Yeah, basically.
So let's start talking about the Utah State offense. How would you grade at the midway point? What kind of grade would you give to Utah State for their offense?
It's hard to give it anything other than an A. Have they had games where it hasn't shown up as much as you'd like? Sure. But I mean, they're low. Just in Mountain West play, I guess if you highlight Mountain West play, I mean, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with 90+ points. Their low end of scoring has typically been the low 70s. They did have the game, 65 points at Colorado State, but that was really one half of bad offense. And then they were spectacular in the second half. And really the only reason you score only 65 is because it was a slow-paced game with the Rams. So even in that one, comparable offensive efficiency to the games where they were scoring in the low to mid 70s against Nevada, Grand Canyon, UNLV. So you have some of those low points, but this has been an offense. And if you loop in the season as a whole, then you're still looking at an offense that has been an A. This is one of the better offenses we've seen for the Aggies. And even after they went through a bit of a slump, we've now seen them jump back up. They've not just gone downhill and just forgotten who they were at the beginning of the season. They're surging back over the last game and a half. Again, second half of Colorado State, the full Wyoming game, elite offense. We'll see if that grade changes after they play San Diego State, an elite defense. Then when they go play at New Mexico, another elite defense. But it's hard to say that it's anything other than A. Not a perfect, not an A+, but it's definitely an A.
Yeah, as you have noted in a number of these conference games, Utah State offensively is doing things to Mountain West opponents that have never been done before. The scoring margins, points against, they're doing this in now a number of games, not just one-offs. Was it 3 or 4 games now that they've done something to a Mountain West opponent that had never been done before, like the widest margin of victory ever, or most points scored ever against this opponent in conference play.
4 different opponents they've done that to.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I have to give them an A. They've had 5 games where they've scored 90 or more. They've had 4 games, because the math doesn't math. 4 games where they've scored between 70 and 89, and only 1 game where they've scored less than 70 points in conference play. Only 1 where they've scored less than 70 points. So this is a high-powered offense when it's clicking. And even when it's not clicking, it's still really pretty good. So I have to give this offense an A.
Yeah. So shifting to the defense, and I'm teetering between B+ and A-, probably leaning more toward a B+, because you look at the games where they held 58 with Colorado State, 63 for Fresno State, 62 for Air Force, 68 for Boise, 62 for Nevada, 61 for Colorado State, and 62 for Wyoming. That is A+ level defense right there. But 78 against San Jose, 84 against Grand Canyon, who's not been an elite offense this year. 86 allowed to UNLV, who's not been an elite offense this year. Basically, they have had, 7 assignments on defense this term that they have pretty much aced. And then 3 where you were like, you could have done a little bit better there. So it's definitely overall a positive, and there's some things to work on, but overall you're still getting a pretty overly positive grade for Utah State on defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I give them a B+ here. They've got 6 games where they've held their opponents below 65, but they have a few games where they allowed 84 or more, and that's just, you can't do that. If you're a great defense, you can't allow that. So yeah, they've had more than half of their games, they've been top tier, really good defense, but they have a few stinkers in there too. So that's what kind of brings their grade average down.
Yeah, just work on not don't bomb more than a couple assignments.
Right.
That's kind of the key.
They
there.
stayed up too late partying. They didn't quite get the assignment all the way done.
Just kind of just didn't go too hard. Okay, so let's do the coaching now. And for the coaching, I have a hard time grading a coaching staff because there's so much that goes into it, and it's hard to see the exact impact. So for me, I'd probably end up giving it the same as the defense, a B+, where there's things that I think the coaching staff can certainly improve on. But like, if you really are criticizing the coaching staff, you do end up nitpicking. You're nitpicking things that's like, this should be better and this should be better, and it's like, but overall, can you say they're doing a bad job? They took a team last year that was terrible defensively, and they turned them into a team that's one of the tops in the country. And sure, they had a couple of shaky games, but then they returned to form against a Colorado State team that's really good on offense. They've held them to 61 and 58 points, where Colorado State still ranks, I think, top 50 in offense in the country, and they've shut them down twice and shut down a bunch of other teams. So they've improved the defense, and the offense is as good as it's ever been. And I think they've adjusted well. Like, again, after they had 2 really bad games, like 2.5 bad games going halfway through the Colorado State game, they've got this team to focus. They've got this team, consistently reminding them they've got to prepare. They've got them thinking the right way. And so I feel like the coaching staff gets a positive grade, but not a perfect grade.
Yeah, well, you've won 80% of your games. You've completed 80% of your assignments at a level. So what is that? That's probably a B plus.
Yeah.
And that's about where I think they should be. And part of that is not just because of the win-loss record. I think there's, much like we talked about with the defense, exactly. They've, in more than half of their games, they've had a great scouting report, great execution on defense. On offense, they've done things against their opponents that have never been done for Utah State before in this conference. But they've also had some games that got away from them. And coaching, they couldn't figure out how to make some adjustments, at least not soon enough. Some stretches of games, some questionable lineups that allowed opponents back into things. So, yeah, you're right. You kind of nitpick a little bit on a few things. But generally, this has been a really good basketball team again. I think that part of it, too, is what happens in the offseason to get them to the point we're at today in recruiting, development. So there's some players on this roster doing things that last year players weren't doing. And the way they've helped develop some of the returning players, the way they've recruited new players that are playing large roles. So I think that I lean more towards the B plus than just a B. But there's still some work to be done in how this coaching staff communicates with their players. Are they hearing what they're trying to tell them? Some of that's on the players. They have to pay attention. They hold some responsibility. But if they're not hearing what you're telling them, sometimes you need to shift how you're trying to communicate to the players. And I think we've started to see some of that improvement and change from the coaches too. So I think I'm comfortable giving them a B plus. I don't know that I can give them an A minus or anything lower than that or lower than a B plus because they've had some great achievements. They're right there in the mix, but not at the top.
Yeah. Let's get to a couple texts before we jump into some of the players, kind of who we're handing out some of these A's or B's to some of the players. 9-5 saying I would say the grade for money raised to get a really good big man on this team, a D or worse. I mean,
I don't know. I wouldn't go there.
Well,
they've done events. They've provided opportunities. So to grade the team, I wouldn't give the team that grade. That's a grade that you should give the fan base, because this team, as a coaching staff and an organization, they've tried to create events to raise money outside of just, hey, would you give us some money? They've tried to create events so you feel like you're buying, you have value. Going to that event where they brought Nemish Keta and Sam Merrill in, and the exhibition where it was strictly to raise money for that event, for that purpose, for retention and recruitment. The opportunity to play a game down in Salt Lake City that could have been a great fundraising opportunity for the future of the program. And in some of those events, the exhibition and the Salt Lake event, yeah, that's not on the coaching staff. That's on the fans for their
coaching staff are literally
menial support there.
Coaching staff are literally donating parts of their salary to the retention fund.
Yes.
One of the highest donors for the basketball program is the coaching staff.
Yes, very true.
5374 saying, is USU defense considered elite this year? I'd say it depends on where you draw the line for elite. Utah State's defense ranks 49th in the country. Is 49th out of 366-ish teams elite? Again, it depends on where, do you say top 30 is elite, whereas top 50 is really good? Again, it just depends on where you want to draw that line. Is
really good. Yes.
Yeah, they're
elite. I don't know if we could go there.
49th,
really good.
49th in the country. That's what I can tell you.
Out of what, 365 teams?
Yeah, and
that's pretty good.
And in the conference, they're like 4th or 5th, to be honest. So I don't know, but yeah, well,
they're second in the conference in scoring defense.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at defensive efficiency metrics. Got to adjust for pace, Eric.
Wow. Yeah, I'm getting my numbers from the NCAA stats.
Yeah, well, that's raw points per game, but
yeah.
Defensive, it's offensive and defensive rating, Eric. Come on, I got to convert you eventually to using offensive and defensive rating and turnover percentage and steals percentage as opposed to raw per game stats, Eric. You got to be a numbers guy like me.
I'm a numbers guy. That's why I'm looking at these numbers.
You got to look at the right numbers,
Looking
Eric.
at numbers.
You got to look at pace adjusted, possession adjusted stats. We'll get that yet. 9310. I think with a couple of texts here. Team gets an A-. A couple better teams on the schedule or 1 to 2 less wins would be an A. Then saying last year San Diego State got into the tournament because they had a win over Houston. This year USU doesn't have that kind of opportunity. Yeah, this year Utah State, they're kind of slightly worse off. Or last year, some of their teams they played ended up having better seasons. Like VCU was like right, on the line of being quad 1, whereas last year the Aggies had, I think, if I remember, it was like North Texas ended up doing all right. Iowa still ended up being a quad 2, but like they had a lot more quad 2 games, whereas this year they're struggling a little bit. And they also didn't get a win over South Florida that I think would have been a quad 1 win.
Right, yes.
If they hadn't dropped that one. Let's get to our, we got to take a break here. Let's take a break. We'll get to kind of our thoughts on what kind of grades we would give some of the players. Just kind of grouping them together. We're not going to go player by player, every single one, but we'll kind of generalize who's getting an A, who's getting a B, and who's maybe, as Eric said, needs to maybe schedule a parent-teacher conference because they gotta work on some things, maybe a few too many missing assignments. So we'll give our thoughts on that. If you have thoughts on that topic, any grades you would give out to players or the teams, text 435-339-0321. We'll be back after this.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 5th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
This is Garrett with Cache Valley Bank. Life has a way of moving quickly. Kids growing up, students starting fresh, and business owners taking bold new steps. At Cache Valley Bank, we're here for all of it. Whether you're opening your first account, growing your business, saving for the future, or planning what comes next, we're proud to be your trusted financial partner right here at home. Cache Valley Bank. Real relationships, real solutions for every stage of life. Member FDIC.
As the new year begins, getting back to the basics feels pretty good. At the Old Grist Mill, it's always been about simple, old-fashioned ingredients you can trust. Nothing complicated, just real food made right. Fresh-baked breads, hearty soups, classic breakfasts, and made-from-scratch meals that fuel your day without weighing you down. Perfect for your New Year fitness goals, and even better for everyday living. No shortcuts, no trends, just wholesome comfort food the way it's always been. Visit the Old Grist Mill in Logan, South Logan, or Smithfield and find today's menu at logangristmill.com. Simple food done right.
New news from the Riverwoods Conference Center. All-inclusive pricing is now available for every occasion. Imagine your dream wedding, your daughter's quinceañera, corporate retreats, family parties, business conferences, or expos. Whether you're searching for a small private area, a breathtaking outdoor reception by the river, or an event that accommodates up to 2,000 people, the Riverwoods Conference Center makes event planning effortless with its perfect combination of beauty, service, catering, and now all-inclusive pricing. Visit theriverwoods.com or call 750-5151 for more information today.
They never could play it, but they sure can talk about it. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker on the Full Court Press.
Indoor air in our area can be up to 5 times dirtier than outdoor air, especially during dry winter months. Dry air keeps dust and allergens floating longer, sending them deeper into your lungs and making sickness more likely. Mountain Valley Heating and Air installs high-efficiency steam humidifiers that use 1 gallon of water with no waste to improve air quality and solve all those problems we just went over. Call 435-753-5170 for a free in-home air quality assessment from Mountain Valley Heating and Air. That's 435-753-5170. Get a free in-home air quality assessment. That is deceptively hard to say. I kept wanting to say in hair. It's like they're not going to
collect seashells at the seashore.
Yeah, just can't do that.
By the way, we were talking about Utah State's profile and resume. Last year, their highest profile win was at St. Mary's, who was at a 21 in the net before Selection Sunday.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
And then everything else, pretty much everything else was in conference play. That was their one, like, hey, we played a good team and beat a good team.
Yeah. Yeah, St. Mary's, Iowa, North. Like, again, the one quad one.
Yeah, right. But they beat Iowa. They beat North Texas, beat St. Bonaventure. But those are all quad 2 games. So they had a decent quad 2 resume.
Basically just like slightly better than I think what they did this year.
But this year, Utah State doesn't really have a quad 2 resume for non-conference. It's Illinois State, and that's it.
Yeah,
VCU has now moved into quad 1, thank goodness. Utah State right now is 2-2 in quad 1 territory.
Yeah, so which is, well, it's better than they were earlier in the season.
For a minute.
For a
Grand
while,
Canyon, they're right on the edge.
Yeah, for a while, the Aggies didn't even really have a quad 1 game at all.
No.
Because VCU, South Florida was kind of their first, and they lost that one. So it's like, but now they've got 2 quad 1 wins, thanks to Boise and VCU, both in that range. Let's get to our grading, kind of back to what we were doing. It's midterms, it's school, institution of higher learning here with the Aggies. We gave kind of our offensive and defensive and coaching staff grades for the team as a whole. Let's start kind of grouping players together and saying, all right, who on the team gets an A? And for me, I basically look at this as, if you get an A, that means you have performed at a high level. We're not graded on a curve here, at least for me. You have played on a high level for basically every single game this season. Not really missed any portions. It's not to say you couldn't have a bad game at all. Like, everyone's had their bad game, but you have been consistently performing pretty much night in and night out. And there's 2 players that fit that bill, and that's MJ Collins and Mason Falstaff. A few players might get a little close, but for a lot of the others, there's just too many games or a portion of the season where they weren't playing at that high level, even relative to their role.
Yeah, I'm the same. I got Mason Collins and MJ Falstaff. I've got Mason and MJ in giving them A's because they understand the assignment and they have successfully performed the assignment. There are others that have worked hard, but there are times where they're sometimes inefficient. Sometimes they don't fully understand the assignment, but they've been pretty good. And so I handed out a number of B+ grades, and I gave those to Drake Allen, Colby King, Adlin Elamine, and Carson Templin.
Yeah, I think I'd pretty much agree there, where Adlin, if you're looking at relative to his preseason expectations, if you were grading on a curve, he'd probably get an A. And I might lean more toward, like, because you have B+ with a lot of these guys, I might say with Adlin, just because he's basically only been this higher level player for about half the season. And so that kind of takes away a little bit if you're just looking at kind of just objective, not grading on a curve, not anything, but relative to what he was going to be, he would get a really high grade. And of course, but also if you just say we're only counting like conference play, he's probably getting close to an A in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I pretty much agree with you on a lot of those as well.
So then I'm not going to go into like lower grades. I'll just say passing. And then I have work left to do.
Yeah.
So in a passing grade, I'm only going to give that to one player right now. Though I've debated whether he belongs there or in the other category. But I'm going to give passing grade to Gary Clark. Because there have been stretches where he's been great. And he's been a huge factor off the bench. But then there's been a number of games where he was a ghost. And we didn't see him. Or he was not an impact player. but he's kind of redeemed himself here again recently. So that's why I give him a passing grade. He is not great. He's not flunking the class, but he's right there where he still has work to do, yes, but he's not among the best.
Yeah, I would expand that to include Elijah Perryman if I'm handing out kind of that same thing where it's good in certain portions. Elijah Perryman was doing really good in non-conference, but he struggled as we've hit conference play. I think he's just kind of hit a freshman wall. I think that, and maybe there's a bit of confidence there as well, where the confidence isn't there as much as it was during the non-conference slate. We saw Mason Falslev do this at times early in his career where he hit a freshman wall a couple of times, even kind of hit a sophomore wall last year where he started fantastic and slowed down a little bit. That's been an improvement for Mason. He's been better in conference play than he was in non-conference, where it was backwards last year. But I would say for Elijah, I'd say a passing grade, but work to do.
And then those in the work to do who need to schedule a parent-teacher conference to figure out how do they improve their missing assignments and be better in the classroom. It's a longer list. Zach Keller, Jordy Barnes, Tucker Anderson, Luke Kearney, and I had Elijah Perryman on there. And I think you make a good case for Elijah. I think I may be a little bit more a victim of recency bias on Elijah.
Yeah.
But there are a number of guys here who they see the floor, but they show flashes occasionally, but they're just not consistent. And like, think of what this team would be like if those guys were at least consistent. Like the floor of this team would be raised a lot higher. It's already pretty high, but if those guys were consistent and reliable every night, whew, wow.
Yeah, basically, if you saw Tucker Anderson playing at a similar level to Adlan Elamine, and I don't mean like statistical production, just impact and ability to impact. If he's playing like Adlan Elamine, which mind you, Adlan Elamine is maybe like the 5th or 6th most impactful player on the team. It's not like he's the superstar of the team, but he does make an impact.
He makes an impact, yeah.
If Tucker was having that same impact, then yeah, and if Zach Keller had the same impact as like a Carson Templin, again, not necessarily statistical production, but when you're out there for 10, 12 minutes, have a similar impact to Carson Templin, then yeah, you'd be a team that easily goes, I don't know, like 12 guys deep. I don't know how many that comes out to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, you'd go 10 guys deep with, you basically have 10 roughly starting caliber players just about. Well, maybe with Elijah Perryman, I know he's, there's maybe some work to do in Gary Clark. We've talked about both those guys needing to improve a little bit, but those guys are still in the rotation and playing and having a decent impact, where Zach Keller and Tucker Anderson are kind of in the rotation, but they're invisible inside the rotation.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'd give the biggest, like, got to improve your impact. Not necessarily improve your stats and all that, just improve your impact. And as far as Luke Kearney and Jordy Barnes, like, they don't play. They don't get enough time to get into a rhythm to make an impact. And so for them, I judge them a little less harshly, just because if you don't play, you know, and then you throw them in there for 5 minutes and then they shoot a bunch of shots, but because they're cold and haven't been any sort of rhythm, yeah, they're going to miss most of their shots. Whereas guys like Tucker and Zach, they're getting somewhat consistent playing time, at least Zach.
Yeah, Zach's getting a lot of opportunity.
Tucker's been a little bit up and down. But yeah, for Zach, where it's like you're starting every game and you're probably going to start every game the rest of the way. And even if you're only in for 10 minutes, make those 10 minutes work as best you can. A few more texts on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line. 8968, I was talking about how I fall asleep at baseball games sometimes. 8968 saying, hey, Jason, I've seen umpires that seem to fall asleep at baseball games. Yeah, sometimes it's like I forget the count sometimes. Maybe they shouldn't forget the count in some of those games. 9315. You're talking about the fundraising for the big man, and I know you kind of pinned that more on the fan base and fundraising, and 9315 clarifying that's what he did mean. So that wasn't an indictment on the coaching staff, because they have done as much as they can to try and raise money. Even putting their own money where their mouth is. But then 9315 adding, I have an incomplete for Jordy Barnes. Seems like he has not progressed further in his shooting, but I could be wrong. I think he's put in the work for his shooting, and he's put in the work to be more aggressive. Last year, he was, he'd go out there and play 5 minutes and shoot as many times as I did.
Yeah, he was a calming presence on the court, and I think he was solid at handling the ball and running the offense, but defenses found out quickly he wasn't a threat to score. And so he becomes a liability. And so it became harder for him to stay on the court because defenses knew they could kind of back off him and kind of cheat into other areas because he wasn't going to be a threat. And so, which was really too bad because there were stretches of the season where the Aggies absolutely needed him to be that calming presence, to run things, to be more reliable with the ball in his hands. But when it came to being an actual offensive threat, it was 5-on-4.
Yeah, and I think he probably showed that improvement, but then you have a kid like Elijah Perryman come in, and like the way he was playing earlier in the season. And I mean, with Elijah Perryman's recent play, you've actually seen Jordy Barnes get into the game because Perryman's not been cutting it the way he was in non-conference play. But when you saw the way Perryman played non-conference, you kind of understand why Jordy Barnes got overtaken, even though I do think he made improvements. He just got recruited over, in a sense, by a really talented freshman.
Yeah, you got to keep improving or you'll get overlooked, you get overpassed.
All right, we got to take a break here. When we come back, we'll do Pick 6. We're going to do it a little bit earlier. Normally do it at the end of the hour, but I got to sneak out to call a Logan game. Logan taking on American Heritage. And Eric will walk you through those games when we wrap up the second hour. But let's talk Pick 6. Try and predict the things that happen over the weekend here on the Full Court Press. Stay tuned.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Hi, this is Robbie with LSS Insurance. If you're about to turn 65, the Medicare phone calls, mailers, and emails can be unreal. Out-of-market telemarketers simply do not understand Utah, Idaho, or your individual situation. We have real answers and real solutions with local help. At LSS Insurance, we are your health insurance specialists. Call us 752-9493. Having local help makes all the difference, and there's no cost to you. Call 752-9493 or visit lssins.com.
Winter's here and that old car sitting in the driveway isn't getting any warmer. Turn that frozen junker into cold hard cash with DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. It's never too cold, too wet, or too late to clean up and cash out. DD Auto and Salvage makes it quick and easy. They'll even pick it up for you. Get the most money possible for junk vehicles or scrap metal. Clear it out. Get the cash today. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. And let DD Auto and Salvage pay you today. DD Auto and Salvage. Cold cars turned into hot cash.
The chips and drinks are endless. The burrito is huge for only $7.95. It's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant and gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and a massive burrito. You pay just $7.95. The food, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th West and Center in Logan.
This is Jordan with Primrose Home Care and Hospice. When it comes to home care, it's important for you to know you do have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of home care services, remember Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient, not the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Call for a free home safety evaluation, 787-1369, and visit primrosecare.com. Primrose Home Care and Hospice. We're your home team.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press, and a reminder, right now, Young Power Sports of Logan has a massive selection of snowmobiles, and every sled is on sale. Mountain Trail, Crossover, new and non-current inventory is priced to move. They will not be beat on price, guaranteed. And if you're looking at Polaris or Ski-Doo, stop shopping around. The best deals in the region are right here, period. Young Power Sports of Logan, get out and ride. So speaking of getting out and ride, let's do pick 6.
Ooh, go.
I couldn't find the B bar that has the audio on it. So can you sing it for me?
No. Pick 6 time. 6 things we think will happen this weekend.
All right. So I won last week, and that means that I get to decide who goes first as far as saying their lines. And Eric, I'll let you go first.
Ooh, all right. Okay, so a couple different things here. Big game tonight in Mountain West Conference play. Boise State at Grand Canyon. So points plus rebounds by Drew Fielder for Boise State. 20.5.
I'll take the under.
I'm going to take the over. I think that should be a big game for him if Boise wants to win this one.
He needs to have a big game.
Yes, true. Okay, San Diego State rebound margin against the Aggies. They will have 0.5 more rebounds against the Aggies.
I'll take the Aggies. You'd be surprised the poor rebounding numbers the Aztecs are putting up right now.
I'm going to take the over.
All right. They'll probably out rebound the Aggies by like 15 now that I said that.
And then in the Australian Open for the men's singles, championship is set. Alcaraz or Djokovic?
I was about to say I have no clue who those are, but I recognize one of those names.
It'll be January 31st, so Saturday night, 11:30 p.m. our time is when that match will take place.
Hasn't Djokovic won most of his matches by like his opponents retiring from injury or like 1 or 2 of his matchups? I'll go with Djokovic. I've got no clue.
Okay, I'll take Alcaraz.
All right. Yeah.
Djokovic has not lost. He's got a great run.
Oh yeah, is this the run he like never loses
in the Australian Open? But I'm gonna buck the trend. I'm gonna go with Alcaraz.
All right, that's a bold pick. So that's 3 lines for you, right? It's going to me now. All right, so I have all Mountain West related lines today. I just thought about going to NBA or whatnot. I was like, no, we're gonna go all Mountain West. So starting off with the line for Utah State and San Diego State, total points scored in this one. There's probably an official one from Vegas, but I set my own at 147.5.
147.5 is the over-under total points?
Yeah, total points. So something like a 73 all game roughly gets you to about 147.
Take the under.
All right.
You said 147?
Yeah, 147.
I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
Grand Canyon and Boise State, I'll get this one, but I just had the points, the spread. I think I took this one from Vegas. 1.5. Grand Canyon by 1.5 over Boise.
I'm actually going to take the over Grand Canyon.
I think I'm going to take Grand Canyon too. And then this last one, also for a game tonight, Elijah Price points. So I have the same line, but for a different player in a different game. Elijah Price points and rebounds when Nevada takes on UNLV tonight. I set it at 22.5.
That's a good number for him. I'm going to take the over.
All right. I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
And then tiebreaker, also Mountain West related, but wins by road teams in the Mountain West this weekend. So there's 6 total games. And I set it at 3.5. The road teams being, I believe, San Diego State, UNLV, New Mexico, Colorado State, Fresno, and I think that's just about everyone. Oh, and Boise. I think I forgot to mention them.
I'm going to take the... Oh, that's pretty good. You said it at 3.5?
So 3.5.
I'm going to take the under.
Under? All right, and that gives me the over. So there we go. That's pick 6.
I think I chose wrong, but I'm okay.
You might have. I don't know, like, because I was looking at the games, like, because there's ones that you're pretty confident that the road team's going to win.
There's 2 that I know are pretty
like
automatic.
New Mexico at San Jose, Fresno at Air Force feels like you can be pretty confident in that. The real flip ones are like, UNLV and Nevada, obviously Boise, Grand Canyon. But I think that one I'm almost more confident the home team. But like San Diego, Utah State, of course, San Diego is more of an underdog there. But like kind of a big one is Colorado State, Wyoming, where it's like you feel like Colorado State should win that one, but like it's still kind of difficult.
Yeah.
So it's like you can.
I took the under.
Yeah, you took the under.
Shoot.
He's suddenly a lot less confident.
Should have taken the over. All right, I'll stick with it. I'll stick with it.
Yeah, we've already put it in there. You can't change it now. I'm not going to let you change it.
Yep.
Although watch it, maybe you'll hit it and you'll look really smart. You'll go like 7 for 7.
Go home team.
Yeah, basically, he's rooting for every single home team with everything he's got.
You can do it, Air Force. Get your first win.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What do you think for the good of the conference is for a lot of these games?
Yes, we did not play that game looking at the schedule. So for the good of the conference, Boise State needs to win at Grand Canyon. Nevada needs to beat UNLV.
Yeah.
So that's what's for the good of the conference tonight. Tomorrow, Utah State needs to win.
You think so? Because I think for the good of the conference, you're probably looking at San Diego State, because Utah State's looking like a decent. Like Utah State can recover from this game, like as long as they don't then go and blow it at New Mexico and go on a complete tailspin. Like San Diego State probably struggles to recover from this more than Utah State does.
Well, yeah. Darn you in your analysis.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see Utah State get a better net ranking, but you're right, for the conference sake on strengthening,
on getting more NCAA tournament bids. You basically
higher
want
profile for more teams. Then you're right. Then it would be better for San Diego State. Fresno needs to win at Air Force. Colorado State needs to win at Wyoming. And New Mexico needs to beat San Jose.
Yeah, that's one where it's like, you got to make sure New Mexico doesn't, because San Diego State and New Mexico, they're both on the bubble and are probably leaning just outside the bubble. I think Bracket Matrix has them both just slightly in, but I would probably, again, Bracket Matrix tends to be a little bit more favorable toward the Mountain West, just because a lot of bracketologists don't have a stick up their rear like the committee does.
So the current net right now, Utah State's 25, New Mexico's 38, San Diego State is 45. Those three teams seem to be pretty solidly in at this point. Then teams on the outside hoping to find a way in. Boise State is 59, Nevada 64, Grand Canyon 75.
Yeah. So right now I just went and looked at Bracket Matrix right before we hit a break here. Utah State currently in as a 9 seed. The second highest average among the 9 seeds. They're pretty much everyone picking them between 8 and 10. There's like a couple of 11s in there, I think, sprinkled. That's the lowest anyone has them. There's 101 brackets out there. The Aggies are included in every single one of them. Probably most of them as the
automatic qualifier.
The automatic qualifier. New Mexico is in 89 brackets, and I think, according to this, they'd be among the last teams to get a bye. They would not be in Dayton, as they're the third of the 6 11 seeds. San Diego State just barely sneaking in as one of those teams going to Dayton, I think for a second year in a row, because I think they were in Dayton last year. They're in 79 brackets. And I believe almost exclusively as an 11 seed. There are like 3 brackets that have them as a 10 seed, and that's out of 79 brackets. So that's kind of the view on bracketology for the Mountain West. So Utah State can, for the Mountain West, they're kind of hoping that Utah State becomes the piggy bank of quad 1 wins for other teams.
Yeah, that's right.
So long as Utah State then doesn't fall into the bubble, or worse yet, past the bubble. That's kind of for the good of the conference. For the good of Utah State, as a great man once said, just win, baby.
Just win. That's right.
I suddenly forget who said that, so I don't know if he's actually a great person or not. Wasn't that
Al Davis?
I'm not sure I'd say he was a great man. He was an influential and famous man. We'll reserve judgment for others. We're going to go ahead and take a break. I'll say goodbye for now until Monday when we have our next show. But Eric will take you through the rest of the hour, previewing the high school basketball matchups taking place tonight, including the one I'm going to, Logan, as they take on American Heritage. We'll see. We'll talk to you guys, or Eric will talk to you guys.
Don't go away.
Don't go away yet. Don't abandon Eric. I'll see you guys next week, but make sure to stick around. Take care of Eric for me. We'll be back after this.
Adams Wealth Advisors tailors your future with expert in-house help. You need a CPA? No problem. Legal help? They can do that. And of course, certified financial planners with years of experience watching over every move.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit AdamsWealthAdvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today.
Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm.
With down-home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm. No overhead, but lots of country charm. See Darrell's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Over the past few years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools, the full court press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen with you to finish out the hour. As we say goodbye to Jason Walker, he's going to be calling a high school basketball game tonight. Logan High taking on American Heritage Patriots on KVNU and video streaming on Cache Valley Daily. Just one of several games in action tonight around our area, teams that we'll be following. Here on The Fan later on this evening, in historic rivalry game, Mountain Crest versus Skyview, game being played in Hiram. So that'll be Cody Olson and John Olson, the coach, on that call on 107.7 FM. Also here on The Fan, video streaming on CacheValleyDaily.com. Green Canyon hosting Stansbury tonight in North Logan. That'll be on 100.9 Light FM, video streaming on Cache Valley Daily with Stockton Jukes and the coach Terrell Baldwin on the call for that one. And then another region rivalry game going on. Ridgeline and Bear River squaring off in Millville. A couple different places to follow this game. If you're a fan of the Riverhawks, you can hear Dave Simmons and Nick Zollinger, the Patriot, call the action on 104.5 The Ranch, video streaming on Cache Valley Daily. Or if you're a fan of the Bears, you can tune in to 104.9 in the Bear River Valley and listen to Trent Carter and Josh Tyre call the play-by-play. And their broadcast will also be video streaming separately on CacheValleyDaily.com. So big night for a couple of these teams. We got senior night for a couple of teams as well. Senior night for Green Canyon, senior night for Logan, and I thought there was one other, maybe Mountain Crest. I think there were 3 schools that had senior nights tonight, if I'm not mistaken. But looking at the latest standings right now and the RPI rankings, when you look at what's on the line, as we only have like 3 games left of the regular season. Games tonight, and then 2 more next week on Wednesday and Friday. And currently, Skyview's on top of the region standings at 10-1, and they're ranked 10th in the RPI, the latest standings. in 4A. They want to try to get a little bit higher if they can to get that first round bye or to make sure you're hosting a game. Ridgeline is not far behind them. They're currently 12th at 9-2 in region standings. Green Canyon and Mountain Crest neck and neck. Both are 7-4 in region play. Green Canyon at 15, Mountain Crest at 16. Bear River coming in at number 21 in the standings with a 5-6 region record. And then looking at what's going on with the Logan High boys in 3A, they've struggled in the non-region, able to finally pick up some wins in region play, but currently 3-4 in their region standings, currently ranked 14th overall in 3A. But let's look also at the girls. What's going on with their 4A and 3A girls basketball teams? Green Canyon Wolves, they have been on a tear, undefeated in region play. Currently 11-0, number 2 overall in the state, only behind Dixie, as Dixie is 19-1 overall. Green Canyon 17-2, coming in at number 2 in the standings. Mountain Crest is at 6, not too far behind. Ridgeline at 7. Those teams really close to each other. Mountain Crest and Ridgeline. Mustangs are 8-3. Ridgeline at 7-3. And then a bit of a gap, and then we find Skyview at 14 with a 7-5 region record, and Bear River at 21 with a 3-7 record in region. And then at 3A level, looking at the Logan High girls in 3A, Logan Grizzlies haven't been able to get a win yet in region play. 0-8, ranked 15th in the 3A standings. But I also want to make sure that we give a shout out and recognize what's going on across the border in Idaho. Preston boys basketball having another very solid season, 15-3 overall. And in the Idaho Sports Power Rankings, they are the top team in 5A currently, with a 2-1 region record or conference record as it is there. And in 3A, a couple of schools from our area doing well. Soda Springs coming in at number 4, West Side at number 10, and Malad at number 15 currently in the 3A power rankings. And in girls basketball, Preston coming in at number 11 at a 10-10 overall record right now. In 3A, it's Malad just destroying everybody. 19-2 overall record, 9-0, perfect record right now in conference. Malad, a girls basketball team, leading 3A. Soda Springs coming in at number 12, Westside at number 17 in those 3A rankings. But besides basketball, want to make sure to give a shout out to some other sports that are going on right now. We just had the region swim meet that just took place just the other day, and Skyview girls were able to win that and breaking Ridgeline's dominance at that. Mountain Crest boys won in the region swim championships that were held up at Heber just yesterday. So congratulations to those programs. And also just earlier was the high school competitive cheer. They had their all-state teams. I'll get to that in just a second. But last night, or excuse me, it was earlier today, it was high school drill, and it was Ridgeline's drill team, the Ariettes, taking the 4A championship, swept all 3 categories. That means they won in military, dance, and show. The competition was at Utah Valley earlier, and it was their first state championship in school history for that. Bear River came in 4th in team standings. Skyview came in 2nd in dance. Bear River came in 2nd in show. So congratulations to Ridgeline winning 1st overall, Bear River coming in 4th, and Skyview coming in 2nd in the dance category specifically. And then also just a quick shout out to some of the girls being recognized in all-state cheer. Carly Tanner, McKenna Roberts, and Molly McMurdy from Bear River. And you look at a couple others from Skyview, Abigail Hilliard, Allie Alder, Boston Ballard, and a couple of athletes from Rich High School, Carly England and Tess Cornea in the 1A classification. So congratulations to all of our high school athletes in what they're doing right now, as a lot of these winter sports are starting to wind down. But if you want to know what's going on with the high school basketball games tonight, where to follow, how to listen, how to watch, all the details on Cache Valley Daily.
KLGN Logan, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.